Thank you. And welcome to the first installment, or should I say, volume of the Sports Machine. It's your boy Face, Julian Michael. You may remember me from Game Face up at Bravo Studios in New Jersey. But now we're back after the whole pandemic thing and the COVID. Took a while to get back to form and have time and set things up. But we're back with a new show, a quick podcast. And for all who are listening, who clicked on, I thank you so much. I appreciate it. So now let's get down to business as we'll begin this first volume with the Knicks versus Cavs, Game 5 tonight up at Cleveland. And look, we'll go with the positives. Knicks are up 3-1. When I found out that Randle was playing, I actually picked the Knicks to lose at 5. Because I actually believed, and I know I'm in a minority here, but I actually believed that the Knicks could beat the Cavaliers without Randle. Remember, Randle was coming off that ankle injury. And the Knicks are just a different team when Randle is out. Now, I know he averaged 25 and 10, and I know he was an all-star. And scoring counts. Scoring matters, especially if he's going to be on the floor. Okay? But the way he holds the ball and slows down the offense, when he's out of the game, you see the difference in the Knicks. They are more of a running team. They're not just a half-court team when Randle's there. And what does Randle do? He holds the ball. He passes out way too long in the double team, which actually kills me. I mean, he actually kills me when I watch this. You're feeling the double team. You're feeling the triple team sometimes. You have to be able to pass out of that. You have to feel for it. And the other players, they got to do their job too. They have to be aware of it, get open, and I'm just surprised that Tibbs over the last 2 years hasn't, adjusted that. Or has he even spoken with Randle about that? Because everybody else sees it. Everybody else sees it, But I actually thought Randle, not playing for 2 weeks, we didn't know how he would perform in game 1, but I actually gave the advantage to the Cavaliers. And the Knicks have completely, they've done a good job, a very good job. I'm not going to say excellent, okay? I'm not going to get carried away here, okay? Because we all know that Donovan Mitchell is not on this game right now, and he's been a huge disappointment this series. Everybody knew Donovan was going to get his 30 at least. He might drop 40. He might drop 50. He might drop 50. Well, you know what? It hasn't happened. I mean, he is missing wide open shots. He can hit the side of a barn right now. So I don't know what the deal is with Donovan Mitchell, but the Knicks are taking advantage of it. They're taking advantage of it. And it is pretty obvious, it is so obvious that Cleveland is intimidated. That team, Garrett Jeffries and the rest of that, they are intimidated by the Garden. I mean, and we knew how loud and how electric Madison Square Garden could be here in New York. But I don't think the Cavs players were ready for this. They weren't, you can tell, they weren't ready for it. They weren't ready for this. They just weren't ready for the intensity. And the Knicks have been able to take advantage of that. And the main reason, and I'll start off with some good points, as I said, my man Jalen Brunson. I mean, Jalen Brunson has been a godsend. He's been a godsend. And nobody, I don't care who you say, can imagine that Jalen Brunson would play this well here in New York when he joined the Knicks. Nobody. You don't think they miss him in Dallas? How's that whole Kyrie thing working out? But no one could imagine that Jalen Brunson would bring the intensity, the big shot making, the big play making. And when you can do it in the Madison Square Garden, when you can do it in New York, in front of that crowd, with all the pressure, I mean, it's just, he's a godsend. I tell you the other godsend, Josh Hart. And I have to be honest, I didn't see this coming. When they traded for Josh Hart, I mean, it was pretty much a disappointment because I actually wanted them to trade for Randle. Yeah, I wanted Randle out of here. And I know it sounds crazy, and I know I'm in the minority, but to me, he's just not a winning player. And I'll explain. But first, let's give Josh Hart his props, okay? Give him his props because this guy is my kind of player. He is a grinder. He is a grinder. Did you hear Mark Jackson? During the broadcast, did you hear Mark Jackson say he's the type of player you don't have to ask him to give you 100%. You don't have to ask him to dive for balls. You don't have to ask him to play with intensity. He leaves it all out on the court. And maybe it's a Villanova thing. Him and JLM Brunson, they both played for Villanova, won a championship. But it is a godsend to see that passion and that fire and that emotion come from a Knicks player. And it reminds you of another guy who he got some dap from during the game when he made a big shot, and that's John Starks. It really does. It does remind you a lot of that John Starks type player. The undervalued player. Yeah, I might not have the talent, of some of these other, stars of a LeBron, or a KD, but where I make my bones is effort. It's effort. And the one thing that I can't stand, and you're going to find out listening to these shows, is players who don't make an effort. Players who do not make an effort, for playing a game that anybody would give anything, would sell their soul to go out there and be a professional basketball player or football player, baseball, golf, whatever, but not to make an effort, to take it for granted. And there's a lot of players that do. But Josh Hart, man, he's just a godsend to New York. He's exactly what they need. And that's what's carrying the Knicks offensively right now. Now Barrett, let's give him his props, because he's another one that's looking like he can go. He can pack his bags at the end of the year, because he has not been that dude. He has not played up to a number 3 draft pick, a number 3 overall draft pick in the first round. He just hasn't shown it. He's just not that dude. He doesn't have what Ja has. He's not that player. Or Ja Morant or De'Aaron Fox. He's just not that dude. But the one thing I give Barrett credit for, and this year was a disappointment. I was looking for strides. I was looking for him to get better and better. He has showed up the last 2 games, and he's giving the effort. Just like Josh Hart, just like Brunson, he's given the effort. He's trying. And he had a nice game. Especially in Game 3, because he's the one that really started the scoring in Game 3. And the rest of the team followed. So, but the effort is there. So I give Barrett props on that. Hardenstein is up there, 3 blocked shots in Game 4. What was it? 8 rebounds off the bench. He's the guy that when I first saw him in the first half of the season, it looked like he wasn't going to fit. Bumbling and stumbling and all that. He just looked pretty, he looked like Boo Boo the Clown. Looked kind of clueless out there, But even Hardenstein has showed his value, and all you have to do is do your job. It's not that hard. You go out there, you grab rebounds, you block shots, you get offensive rebounds, you start break. That's all you have to do. Give the effort. We know you're not a scorer. We know that. But if you do your job, and rebound, and then you let Brunson and Josh Hart and Barrett and the rest of those guys do their things. Even Mitchell Robinson, who's, I'm surprised he's actually playing and is actually healthy. But even Mitchell Robinson, block shots, showing fire, alley-oops. He's not a one-on-one type center, and I don't know what all that rah-rah he was talking, last month or whatever about wanting a bigger role, and you can understand that. But dude, let's relax. You're not Patrick Ewing, okay? You don't have one-on-one moves, okay? Let's relax. You're not Moses Malone, or David Robinson. So, but do your job. Stay healthy, grab rebounds, and do your job, Mitch. Do your job. Try to hit your free throws when you can. We know you're terrible free throw, but just do your job, man. Do your job and show effort. And that being said, this is going to lead me to Mr. Randle, who, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Is it a little bit personal? Yeah. And I don't take things personal. I always try to be professional, regardless of how I critique. But, the whole Julius Randle and F the fans last year, His play was poor, walking off the court. The team is getting a victory. He's not celebrating. He's just walking off the court. It's very negative, and we don't need that type of attitude here in New York. I'm going to be honest with you. It pissed me off. And you'll never win with a player like that. To me, he's just not a winning player. He turns the ball over way too much. And down the stretch, when you need free throws, to make free throws at the end of the game, he's been terrible. Now, this year, he's improved. I have to admit, he hit the game-winning shot, that miracle shot against Miami. The last time they actually played in Miami against the Heat, he hit that miracle shot, and he played every game until he actually got hurt. But this whole not hustling, Brunson and the rest of the team are bringing the ball up court. He's walking up court. He constantly is shooting threes instead of taking the ball to the damn hoop. And even Stephen A. Smith said it at halftime. He didn't do nothing 2 years ago in the playoffs. He's the main reason why they lost to Atlanta in the playoffs 2 years ago. And, the team is up 2-1, and you're just lollygagging. He just seemed like he checked out mentally. If you watch the game, Randle just looked like he checked out mentally. It's like he just, 2 rebounds? I mean, come on, man. That's a damn disgrace. It's a damn disgrace. It's just his attitude. I just don't trust it. More than his actual play. His play is not bad. Like I said, he has to be able to recognize the double team and give up the ball. And to me, it's like his attitude is basically like, if I'm playing off the ball, then I don't want to participate. Maybe that's it. Maybe there's some jealousy, towards Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, that they're making the big plays. I can't tell you, but, it's a huge disappointment. But, I look to him to play better tonight. I look for the Knicks to actually maybe get ran off the floor tonight. Don't be surprised if they can close it out tonight. Then it'll be great. If not, they have a Game 6 at the Garden and a Game 7. So, but I won't be surprised if the Knicks lose tonight. And if you're the Knicks fans, you're thinking, you're hoping that the Heat can probably upset and close out Milwaukee. Giannis was hurt early in the series. He's come back. Butler had a beast game, 56 points. But here's the problem. They've also lost Harrell, who killed the Knicks. Their second and third scores. Can Butler carried his team, past the Bucks by himself. And they got a quick turnaround because they play again tonight. Game time at 9:30. One of the games we have on schedule are also the Lakers versus the Grizzlies. The Lakers are up 3-1. Ja versus LeBron and AD. If you're the Lakers, you want to come out and play hard, but you still got another game at home if they don't close it out against Memphis tonight. And then at 10 o'clock, you got those damn Warriors, those nuisance Warriors, who I can't stand, by the way. I can't stand the Warriors, really. And what a tough break with De'Aaron Fox to fracture his finger. If he doesn't get hurt, they're up. The Kings are up 3-1. I don't care what anybody says. They're up 3-1. So, but that's pretty much what's on schedule for tonight. Like I said, the Knicks, Cavs, 7:30. My next installment, next show, we're going to talk about the Jets and I'm not happy about that. Let's put it that way, the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. The Yankees, who actually broke through and won a game, scored some points. But we'll talk about all that in our next installments. Once again, thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm Julian Michael, and thanks for listening.